Okay, word of the day is juxtaposition. Everybody say that. That's a mouthful. Juxtaposition. I really like this one, not only because it's actually a really good creative writing trick, like for real. This is a very common one, but it also is just fun to say because it makes me feel fancy. Say it again. Juxtaposition. Juxtaposition. Now, juxtaposition is where you take two things that really shouldn't go together and you kind of force them to be together. And it creates this cool comparison. So more than anything, you guys, look at that synonym. That's the easiest way to think about juxtaposition. It's a really fancy way of saying comparison, okay? So there's so many different types of art, right? There's music, there's visual art, there's 3D art, there's written art. So you can do juxtaposition in any kind of art. So if you guys, I know some of you remember Side Singer, right? Side Singer was 7th grade science. She retired last year. But this is juxtaposition. Side Singer came in because some of her students were apparently told her, Mrs. Side Singer, you look like the lady in the Stretching Grandma poster. And then she was like, let me do that and make my students laugh. But that's juxtaposition. I took two things, put them together, I juxtaposed them. And it really kind of makes them stand out, right? Like you could tell she wasn't quite as flexible, but it's funny to see it side by side. Same with this, with Draco and Harry Potter. When you put Harry Potter next to Draco Malfoy, he kind of doesn't seem quite as, good as Harry Potter does, right? And that's why juxtaposition in creative writing is a really good trick. If you surround your really good character, if you have them with a really evil character, it's going to make your good guy seem even better, and it's going to make your bad guy seem even worse. So that's why juxtaposition is a great trick. So if you're going to do juxtaposition, it becomes a verb. So the form of the word changes just a little bit. So I could juxtapose Harry and Malfoy. So say juxtapose. Juxtapose. When you're going to do juxtaposition, it becomes juxtapose. Yeah. So I'm going to show you some examples in a second, but look at this sentence with me. Honestly, juxtaposition kind of grabs the reader's attention because it will seem a little weird. You're like, what's going on there? And that's a good thing. If you can make the reader kind of pause and think for just a second, then you've hooked their attention. Another cool thing about juxtaposition, like I said, it's a really neat trick to make certain things stand out. Just like sweet with sour will make each other stand out, light and dark will make each other stand out, and that's all of that is juxtaposition. So the way to really understand juxtaposition is to see some examples like this. This is juxtaposition. It doesn't always have to be like artsy-fartsy fancy. It can be funny. We've got Popeyes juxtaposed with a chicken crossing sign. That's a pretty fun juxtaposition. This one comes from my favorite TV show of all time. This is from The Office. Let me skip ahead to where the juxtaposition happens. Okay, right here. So you take two things that are unlike, force them together, and it creates this comparison. In this instance, it's a ridiculous comparison. Obviously, one of these drummers is much better than the other drummer. Not hard to figure out who. And it's because of the juxtaposition. Like, obviously that guy would be good all on his own, and the other guy would be bad all on his own. But when you put them together and you see it side by side, it really makes it stand out. That's why juxtaposition works. That's okay. Okay, so there's one example. Another example is right here. So this is old Joker versus new Joker. When you juxtapose them, old Joker looks kind of ridiculous. Like if you were just seeing old Joker all on his own, like it's not bad, but when it's juxtaposed, when it's compared to new Joker, you're like, oh wow, that's like a huge difference. So that's an artistic juxtaposition. This one is a very like artsy-fartsy fancy juxtaposition. So the picture underneath is a black and white picture. It's of a mushroom cloud. And that is to represent death, right? If there was an atom bomb, a mushroom cloud is what happens. And then they compared it with a tree, which is supposed to represent life. So we have life and death juxtaposed on that one. This one is very different. This is juxtaposition with music. And the cool thing on this one, it has 3 different levels of juxtaposition happening on this one. So let's watch a little bit here. The first thing is color. Immediately, the white stands out a lot when you have a dark background. It wouldn't technically even have to be a black background. Like, it could have been like a dark green, and the white would still stand out. So look at the colors for just a second. Like, when they throw the flags, they really stand out. Juxtaposing color, really easy. The second thing that's being juxtaposed is the music itself. Listen to this song. It's kind of weird. It almost sounds like a funeral, right? Then, if I skip ahead, listen to this next song. Much brighter and peppier. So you can literally juxtapose music, right? If I have like dark and kind of scary notes juxtaposed with happy, bright notes. And then the third thing that's being juxtaposed, because this has a lot, is the movement itself. Because sometimes they're standing still. Sometimes some people are moving while the other ones are going. Some of them move in a circle. Here, I'll skip through a little bit. Some of them move in a line. Some of them move in like a diagonal. And then you're juxtaposing well. It's this kind of cool visual. Okay, so that's a cool example, but it's not the only example I've got going for you. Another kind of juxtaposition is a literary juxtaposition. So if you ever have an English teacher who's like, hey guys, you are required to read a classic novel, this one is actually really cool because it's from like the 1800s in London, which was kind of a dark, scary place. And this one is also a cool classic novel because it's short. Some classic novels are really thick and like, ugh. I have this one, just so you know. It's called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So, it has a spoiler alert. We've got two characters. Classic novel. We've got these characters being juxtaposed. They're being compared because Dr. Jekyll is a dinner party hosting churchgoer. Basically, he's a good guy. Then you have Mr. Hyde, who is straight up a suspected murderer. Good guy, bad guy. And they constantly are like butting heads. Like, Mr. Hyde at like one point is like on the prowl and is gonna like go murder people. It's really creepy, but in a cool way. And then, spoiler alert, you actually find out that Mr. Hyde is the same person as Dr. Jekyll because Dr. Jekyll drinks a potion and turns it into Mr. Hyde. But you don't know that until the very end, so it's actually pretty cool. And when you've got, again, when you have good juxtaposed with bad, it really makes the bad person seem worse and the good person seem better. Yes? I have no idea, probably because it was, I don't know, it got messed up at one point. Okay, so this is a real life story. This actually happened to me. It's embarrassing to admit. So I grew up in Salt Lake, and I've only ever been to one jazz game, but oh well. And at halftime is always fun, right? Is that what it's called in basketball? Halftime. Okay. Okay, so, like the jazz band will come out and do ridiculous shenanigan antics, right? And then sometimes the jazz dancers will dance. And so the jazz dancers came out dressed like this kind of stereotypical hip-hop dancer. And you've got like typical, like the bass was really like thumping. It was really fun, right? Right? And they were doing classic like hip-hop stuff. And that was really fun. And then there was a record scratch. And the music stopped. And then classical piano starts playing. And you could tell the whole audience was like, is this not a jazz game? I'm really confused. What is happening right now? And the hip-hop dancers froze, and out come ballerinas. Again, at a jazz game. What is happening right now? And the ballerinas are like prancing around, and it's all fun and pretty. And you realize this is obviously very purposeful. They were dressed as classical ballerinas. And they were kind of weaving in and out of the hip-hop dancers, and that's juxtaposition. You've got, like, it made them really stand out in different ways. The hip-hop dancers seemed cooler, and the ballerinas seemed more graceful, especially compared to each other. And they eventually, like, mixed the songs together, and you had, like, classical with hip-hop. It was actually really cool. This is another funny juxtaposition, because it doesn't always need to be, like, dark and scary.
Oh, I don't know
Let's watch just a little bit here.
I always loved the idea of summer and sun and all things hot.
Really? I'm guessing you don't have much experience with heat.
Nope. But sometimes I like to close my eyes and imagine what it'd be like when summer does come. Bees will buzz, kids will blow dandelion fuzz, and I'll be doing whatever snow does in summer. A drink in my hand, my snow up against the burning sand, probably getting gorgeously tanned in summer.
Okay, someone tell me, what's the juxtaposition happening here? What is actually being compared? And why did they do that, Delilah? What's being juxtaposed? Yeah, it's just straight up hot and cold. But it's fun, right? Because Olaf's a little dumb and doesn't understand, oh, buddy, you're going to disappear in summer. That's what's going to happen. We're almost done. Hopefully seeing a bunch of examples is making this super clear. Okay, another literary juxtaposition. Robert Frost is a really famous poet. And so even if you don't understand what's happening in this poem, just pay attention to, like, fire and ice. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. So you've got hot and cold, hot and cold. So that being said, just so everybody knows, I'm going to start grading your vocab charts just a little bit tougher at this point in the semester because you know better. If you give me the definition, guys, I already know the definition. Hands down. I don't need the definition. I want to know that you understand enough that you can give me an example. You cannot give me Life or Death or Colors or Dr. Jekyll or Olaf or the Robert Frost poem because those are already on the chart. So you have to give me an example, not a definition. Go. Give you a minute to think. It's okay to Google an answer. I'm totally fine with that. But you're proving to me you understand by giving me an example. Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen that. That sounds hilarious, though.
Yeah, I don't know when it's popular, but it's pretty much.
Remember, file, make a copy, guys. So it's a level of juxtaposition. Yeah. Okay, I want to hear a couple of your examples before we move on, and then I promise I'll stop talking. Okay, Sam, give me one.
Halo 1 versus Halo 5.
Sam and his Halo. Yes. Can you tell us, like, why those might be juxtaposed or compared?
Halo 1 is considered one of the best video games ever made.
Okay.
And Halo 5 is just all around everyone.
It's a dumpster fire. Okay, so really good, awesome, compared with really bad. It just, they gave up on life. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay, tell me another one. Alphaba and Glinda, yes. Explain for people who don't know. Why would those be juxtaposed? Like, what's the comparison there?
They're like friends, and like they're once like
And you also have a lot of color stuff being juxtaposed, right? When you have green with pink, pink will stand out a lot because you've got green as the background, but also vice versa. It goes both ways. Tell me another one. That too. Say it. Old art versus new art and seeing the difference that way. Ken?
Greg and Rowley from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where Greg is like, well, Rowley is like a really good kid, like a really, really good kid, and Greg is not so.
Like on the mission to kind of like be a troublemaker, but that's fun sometimes. Yeah, absolutely, right. So, and their personalities juxtaposed together really stand out. Logan. Yeah, Katniss Everdeen and President Snow, right? President Snow in charge, Katniss trying to like destroy the people in charge. Yeah, juxtaposed together is a cool comparison. Okay, Cam? Yeah, that's classic good versus evil. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Mary.
Like the difference between the new Jurassic.
Turn it in, guys. Yes, new Jurassic Park versus old Jurassic Park. Absolutely. Mix. Yin and yang. Good, bad, light, dark. All of that is juxtaposed. Rowan?
I can't remember their names, but you know those two guys from Elmo Street? I think one of their names is Bernie.
Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street.
Yes.
It's even just like the colors. Like, I think Bert always had blue shirt and Ernie always had red. So, like, just colors like that even. And one of them had a round face, one of them had like an oval face. So there was a lot going on visually with juxtaposition. Josh? There you go. Banana, apple. They're both fruit, but a very different kind of fruit. Graham. Oh, yeah. I like even just comparing different types of bad guys. Bowser versus Grim Reaper. Still bad guys, but cool to think about together. I would have never thought to put those together. Yeah, Corona.